Yo, what up, people? We back. Nightly recap. I'm here with Landy. Crazy week, man. Crazy week. Lots of dips. Then we got that bull candle today. That's absolutely freaking crazy. I'm gonna bring Landy in. We're gonna find out what's his take. Before we go to him, I do want to say that I think this is a 52 fake out, yo. I think this daily candle I think this daily candle is a liquidity sweep. I think that's what I think it is. I could be wrong, but when you look at the higher time frames, it still says we're bearish. I don't know. Let's go to Landy and find out what's going on. He's an expert. He's got information coming directly from the CIA. I think. Landy,
What's up, brother?
what's up, man?
Doing well.
Like that blunt in your mouth there. See, been smoking on that good stuff.
Hey, look, I have had a fun week in the markets. I hope you did too. Lots
I
of nice
did.
volatility.
Yeah, tons of volatility.
Lots
Um,
changed since last Friday, though.
okay, what's changed?
For Bitcoin, we closed a candle structure break below the previous higher low in a monthly time frame.
On the
So
monthly?
on the monthly, well, on the weekly, we closed it below already, right? Or
Oh,
we're
oh,
gonna
oh.
likely close it below or
I
swing
was about to
below.
say
I'm
the
sorry.
month ain't closed yet.
No. The monthly higher low at 74, 420.69 on spot
Yeah. But we
has
yeah, we
been
just
swung.
so we just closed below. Okay.
We closed dailies below. My apologies. We are probably likely going to close the weekly below. Um, but more importantly, we have a structure break on the monthly. That's what has changed,
What do you mean we
right?
got a structure break?
Well, we have a lower low on the monthly now, because the last higher low was at
Oh,
that 74.4. Now we have a lower low swing so
yeah.
far,
We do have a lower low.
and we're trading underneath it. So
Yes.
this is this is a confirmed macro top on Bitcoin.
Should we bring the charts up?
Sure. I'll show this chart a little bit later here. We'll discuss this one because I called this out on Monday, and then
What you call out?
the move. I was talking about the move. Well, technically, I was talking about it on Spaces on Monday for
Okay.
X.
Yeah.
But then Wednesday, I talked about the move and where it could potentially go right before it dropped. And this isn't really the most important part, although we can get to that.
Yeah.
This is the most important part.
Right.
This is no matter what, no matter where this closes, this is a structure break on a higher term time frame, like a monthly.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Well, that means that this is no matter where this bottoms, this is a macro top. That's from a structural point of view, it's a macro top. So we have hit some key levels on the way down. Um, but likely even if this was going to turn out to be a deviation of the macro trend, right? Even if this, comes back up and closes, this confirms this not just as a local but a macro. There's
Mhm.
enough time spent up here. Now you've swung below to break structure. More often than not, what we see out of stuff like this is, on higher term time frames. Like even if this was going to be the low, I don't think it's going to be the low. But even if it turned out to be the low, what it would have to do is deviate trend. Right now we've got a lower low. The criteria is to be structurally sound, is to take out now the macro top up here at 126, 300 or so. That's highly unlikely, but it's never a foregone conclusion that it can't do that, especially when you consider that we are in a macro compression, right? And we just hit some very, very key areas on longer term timeframes like the monthly here. What's more likely gonna happen from here, or the higher percentage, even if this were to be, at $60,000, a low that was set on the monthly, um, this is very highly likely, gonna do this is just for example purposes, very highly likely lower high, lower low. And, there is some scenarios, though, where this turns into a macro structure deviation while still going lower, for the monthly time frame, but that's something we'll have to watch develop, over the course of this month into next to see how things kinda roll. The biggest thing here, though, is the weekly, right? Because the weekly is gonna give us all of the information that we'll need to know coming into this monthly close and, of course, any future monthly closes. And right now, we have swept under the 200 EMA. And I'm gonna bring up, a little bit of a chart. We'll see if this can actually show on the screen. Is this gonna show on the screen? Yes, it does. Alright. So, probably gonna yeah, I'll have to keep it like that. Alright. So, all this stuff on the right is just, Bollinger Bands, right? It's just a representation of where the Bollinger Bands are, where some of the major moving averages are, and some key support and resistance zones of interest, right? We've got the $69,000 high over here from the prior cycle. We've got the lower high that set off the bear market, and then we've got the EMAs and MAs, and then, of course, the Bollinger Band set. On Wednesday, I talked about this. This was before the move actually initiated. I was talking about the weekly. We had a lower low, right? We broke this uptrending structure. We put in the lower high, which was a retest of this higher low over here at 98. And then it was all about continuation, right? Below 80,000. It could safely swing it and deviate, but we needed to see it close above that 80,000, 80,500 area, or else we were going to see, the lows, which we started to see in this candle, right? So we started to get continuation below that low for a new lower low and confirming that trend reversal setup that we had come in mid to late January, right off of the 100 period moving average and the lower first standard deviation of the Bollinger Band set here. So then we get continued expansion into this low in the mid 70s. And then it was all about hitting the top side here, which is, that kind of 68 where the 200 EMA is to 72 essentially, and the lower second standard deviation of the Bollinger Band. So we have like a ton of confluence around here. This is also where we typically see reversals or pivots after you get an expansion. We'll typically get a retest of that lower second, which we have well retested it. If it closes above, there's a potential for this to become just another lower low here. Um, and especially closing above a 200 period moving average, that gives a chance for some nice sellers rallies. That means price going up, sellers get involved, bring it right back down, right? So sellers rallies. In this case, I had floated this out there. I was looking 68 to 72 as a primary area of interest. But if we dropped it, hit the mid 60s, which we did during the day over here on these highs from the weekly, anywhere below there, looking towards this area here around the 200 period simple moving average, which is about 58 to $60,000. We ended up with a low at 60. So, typically, what we see is a knife through the bands or through them. We rarely see initial closes below, but if we do close below that 200 period moving average, it's likely that price will retest this low in and around that 58 to 60 again. If it does fail, I don't see too much more continuation. I would see a lot of swings or wicks in here, if it does head back down, but it's more about, do we get continuation of trend, specifically below, 83 to 86, which would be this weekly high over here on a close. It's where the 100 period moving average currently is and where the lower first is. So when we lost that, that's when we went and retested this low on the weekly. And then, of course, this low, these highs, and then knifed right through and nearly touched this higher low at 58. And there is confluence there at the 200 period moving average and the lower third standard deviation right around 55 to 58. That's the next big area of interest. If that's lost, we're looking essentially between the 200 period moving average, that lower third, into the 377
What
EMA,
did that say? Like
which would
55K there?
this is at 55 to 58 right here. So if we do close below, there's a high chance of us retesting if it isn't recovered immediately. In my personal opinion, around this 68 to 72 area. So it's kind of a wider zone, right? But we need to see this hold. Otherwise, if we do see it dip back below the weekly 200 EMA, it's very likely we're going to head down and retest this current low at the 200 period
What's that,
SMA
like
between
42?
it's at 58, 58 to
Oh,
60,
that level
right
still.
where the low
Okay.
came in. Yeah, right here. And then just below it
Yeah,
is right
I think
around
we're gonna bust through that.
50. If we do, the next big area to look is right down here towards 48 to 55, like in this zone, which would be the bottom side of this structure from 2024. So that's kind of, your 48 to 55. This is also confluent with where we saw the lower high in the bear market. We saw the ETF high in January of 24. We also got a retest, almost a perfect retest of this high here at 49, which was right around that lower high of the bear market. So, we set that high in early January before the ETF launch. We came back down, settled in on a monthly at 38.5, and then came back up, made a new all-time high prior to the halving, and then retested that bear market lower high and the ETF high at $49,000 before going on the actual bull run. I'd be looking at that area as the next big area. If we start to see 58,000 to 55,000 break down, then we're looking between 55 and 48. That's kind of the key areas
We're
to the
going to
downside.
55.
I could definitely see it. I mean, we've broken back into the range here. We did see quite a lot of daily volume here for spot price. But realistically, from the weekly standpoint, the last lower high, the only way to invalidate a move down further would be to set this low above 79,340 or $80,000 essentially, and then take out
Wait,
98
when does the weekly candle close for Bitcoin? Is that tomorrow?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday it
Sunday.
closes?
hmm
Okay.
hmm Yeah, so Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So
It's
that's
about
when
to
it
dip
will.
more now.
I think the daily's going to come back down and test.
Yeah.
So I mean,
We finna come back
realistically,
down to like 59.
I mean, we're really extended, so I wouldn't rule out, some further testing down. If we look at the daily here, the daily's pretty simple, right? The daily's last lower high is at 90,500. This could even set a low here by closing above the daily here at 71.7, 72,000. But what's more likely going to happen is you get a lower high, lower low, or a lower high anyway. And then that becomes the lower high to beat, because the lower high to beat right now is at 90,500. Let's say it even gets to like 80. This is just me spitballing here. I think it might reject around the 74, the area it just broke down from. But aside from that, very likely looking at a lower high coming in locally. Even if it does push in further, it's going to be tough for the bulls to go straight from this low to take out the last lower high at 90,500. So we're very likely going to see that we're going to get a lower high, whether it comes in here,
So,
or we just get
all right,
continuation.
let's look at SPY. What's going on with SPY? We got a big pop today in the market. SPY, Dow, everybody, Russell, everybody up.
Yeah,
What's going on, bro?
we'll take a look at that in just a moment. There's something very key I
Nobody
wanted
cares
to show
about
you
Bitcoin. It's fake
specifically.
money.
It's real,
It's
man.
not
It's the
real.
realest, hardest
Epstein
asset on
runs
the
it. We
planet.
got to cut it out. It was
He's
created
never
by the
run
Epsteins.
anything. When
It
did
was
he get
created
in and
by
try to work his
it was
way into
created
core?
by Epstein. Okay, the NSA
I hate
created the
that. That is
technology. Let's stop acting
he
like
didn't create
Bitcoin is
shit.
freedom money. We don't have to pretend
Ah,
for the
Man,
sponsor.
look, first of all, the agency created it, not Epstein, and, second of
Epstein
all,
funded
he didn't
Blockstream.
try to get involved
Epstein funded
until
Blockstream, and they hijacked the
he
protocol.
didn't hijack the protocol.
Blockstream
You can't
hijacked the
hijack the
protocol.
protocol. No,
Yes,
they
they
didn't.
did. Why you
First of
lying?
all,
Why you
everything is
lying? Why you
consensus on
lying,
the
Landy?
network because all the pull
I talked to
requests,
all my geek
all the
friends,
bips
and they all told me
have to
about
be
this. The rest of you Bitcoin maxis is lying.
No, definitely not. First of all, he didn't get involved
Vin
until
Armani
2015
has
when there
said
was
this. Cyprian has said this. My homeboys over
and
at Twitch have said this. The BSV boys have exposed
and
this. Aaron Day have exposed this. Everybody have exposed this. We all know Blockstream hijacked the
and
protocol.
they didn't hijack the
They,
protocol. You can't hijack the protocol when it's a consensus
oh
protocol. And all
bullshit.
of the PRs and it,
Oh
look,
bullshit.
they can do all the PRs they want.
Save the
It's
drama
about
for
the
your
bips,
mama,
baby.
Landy. This is well documented. Roger Ver split off because of this. This is well documented. You could keep the lies for somebody who don't know no better.
Roger
The the
Ver.
the the
First of all,
MIT boys and the Blockstream boys hijacked the protocol. They made it. They set
to
it
do
to
what?
do small blocks because they ain't want big blocks. I done
No,
did
no, no.
the
We had small blocks to
I
begin
done
with.
did the Bitcoin debate on my channel. I know all the history. Don't blow the smoke this way.
Brother, I will eat you alive on
It
this
don't matter.
topic.
You can't
I'm
eat my
sorry.
experts up. No,
Yes, I
you can't.
can. Every
No,
single
you
one of
can't.
them. Every
I'll
single
bring
one
them
of
on
them.
here
They ain't
next week.
experts.
I bet
If
you
they're
they eat
talking like
you
that,
up.
they don't know what
I'll
they're
bring
talking
my
about.
experts on next week. They're gonna chew your ass up. You're gonna be stuttering like a hoe in
They can
church.
try. They can
I bet.
try.
I'm gonna set it up.
But they're gonna fail
So
because
Blockstream didn't
first of
hijack the
all,
protocol? They didn't
no,
hijack the network? They didn't change
no,
anything
it's
on
a
the network.
consensus protocol. No, you can it has to it's consensus. They can propose anything they want, and so can anyone else. The fact of the matter is the network is a consensus network. Just because you have proposals in and you have maintainers in that were funded by him does not mean that they
Oh,
hijacked the
brother.
protocol.
Here
Also,
we
to
go with
know
the
the history, you
lies.
would have to
Here we go with
here's
the
what you it's
lies.
not a lie.
Here we go. You
It's not a
guys talk
lie.
about consensus, but it's not consensus when everybody in the know is part of the same group.
The
That's like
network
saying
is
Congress operates
consensus
based
based.
upon consensus. Of
So
course, they operate based upon consensus,
the
but they
core
all fucking
maintainers
corrupt.
don't no, they're not.
All of
Not
Congress
all
ain't
of them
corrupt.
are corrupt. Oh, they're what?
Congress,
Oh, Congress,
they
yeah.
operate off consensus, right?
They
Okay,
do,
same
yeah,
thing.
for
Same
their
thing.
votes. But the network is a decentralized consensus network that is global.
And who runs it?
It's a global
Who's got
network. It is not just a
who's got
US
the biggest
network.
mining power?
Right
Right?
now,
At
in
any
terms
point in
of
time. It ain't me.
oh, I mean,
It ain't the regular average person. It's people with a whole lot of fucking money.
no, it's people with a whole lot of hash rate,
Oh, now you're gonna play
not
games.
money.
Now you what
No,
does
the
it take to
network
get
is
what
a
does it take to
network.
get hash rate?
Takes
And
machines.
how do you get machines, Landy?
Well, you gotta buy
Okay,
'em,
so
yeah.
it takes people with money. Come on, Landy, stop bullshitting me, Landy. I'm
Yeah,
not in the
I'm one
fucking
of
mood
those
for this
people.
gay shit, nigga.
I'm one of those people, and it still takes
It takes
consensus on the
money.
network.
It takes
It
money.
still takes
It takes no,
consensus.
no,
There's a
no,
difference
don't
between
just stop doing this shit. You playing
because
big word games
nodes can
with people that
participate,
don't know better.
nodes and
Ladies and
miners
gentlemen,
can
here to tell you, you
participate
got to
in
buy
consensus.
GPUs, and GPUs are fucking expensive, and you need a lot of them in order to get the hash rate to even mine one fucking Bitcoin
No,
if you get lucky.
you don't buy GPUs to mine Bitcoin. You cannot you could try to mine with GPUs, but you ain't gonna be successful. You need ASICs. You need ASICs, not GPUs. I mean, you can GPU mine other tokens and be successful in actually hitting blocks, but you need ASICs these days. It was a long time ago you could mine with GPUs and be
Chat, you
successful.
see the bullshit?
That time has passed. It's
How
not
many
bullshit,
chips you
it's
need,
truth.
Landy?
How many chips? You don't need chips, you need ASICs.
How many ASICs you need, Landy?
If you want, you can participate with a lottery miner if you want. You can be a node. You could be a lottery
So now
miner.
you want me to be a lottery fucking
You
miner.
can run
This
your
is
own node.
crazy. This
You
is
could
crazy.
be involved in the Bitcoin network.
Oh my
Hotep,
God.
you could be involved in the
You
Bitcoin
telling me
network
like
for
I
less
don't
than
know.
$100.
You telling me like I don't know.
Well,
You telling me like I don't know
okay.
people with mining farms. I know people with mining farms, bro. You need
Yeah, I'm right here.
a lot of the machines running all day
Yes.
long, and you need to keep the electricity on, and you need to keep the cooling on. So you don't overheat the
Yeah.
facility. It takes tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, which means it's not a consensus. It's a bunch of rich people who get to make decisions. Let's stop bullshit and act like this shit is freedom coin. It's not freedom fucking coin. The NSA created a protocol,
It
and a
is
bunch of rich
it is
people
the
get to make
most
decisions. Let's stop
it is
bullshit.
the most decentralized
It
network
is
on the
not
planet.
decentralized.
The only
not
argument that
decentralized.
you can make for it not being decentralized as a
It's not
network, it is.
decentralized.
Yeah, because of the node
It's not
count. Yes,
decentralized.
it
It's
is.
bullshit.
The largest mining pool is going to be Foundry, which is not a
The
publicly
Epstein
traded
Fund
company.
blockchain.
Yeah, what mining facilities does
The
Blockstream?
Epstein Fund blockchain.
He funded the core devs.
Okay.
Through MIT
Okay.
in 2015
Did
during
the
a
same
time.
people
Let
from
me speak for just
Blockstream?
a moment.
Did the
Hold
same
on.
people from Blockstream go work on Project Hamilton?
I don't care if they
Did
went
they
and
work
worked
on Project Hamilton or not?
Yeah, but what does
Okay,
that have to
all
do
right.
with anything? What's your point? How much hash rate does Project Hamilton have? Do you know where the hash rate was aggregated at this time? You don't.
You could see the
It was in
funny thing
China.
about smart people is
Most of the hash
the
rate
funny thing about
was in
smart
China.
people is they think they smarter than everybody. So they try to throw all these
No.
different terms out there. But the fact of
I'm
the
not
matter is you can't fool everybody. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the time, and you can't fool Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Everybody
Well,
in the community
do
knows
you know what was
Bitcoin
going
got
on?
hijacked.
Well,
There's
hold
a
on.
book on it. Roger
When
Ver
did it
went
get
to
hijacked?
jail. They forked to BCH. Why did they fork to BCH?
Who forked to
Why did
BCH? You're talking
Bitcoin
about
fork to
Roger.
BCH?
Bitcoin didn't fork to
Why did they
BCH.
fork?
That is
Why
a
did
fork
why
off
did
of
Bitcoin
Bitcoin.
fork to BCH?
That is a hard fork. Bitcoin is still the
Why did they
same.
fork?
It forked off of Bitcoin. Why did they fork? Because he wanted bigger
Okay.
blocks.
What did
Go look at
Satoshi
their
want?
failed
What did
network.
Satoshi want?
He didn't want bigger blocks.
Oh, you gonna sit up here and lie now?
Go read it.
You gonna lie?
Go read it.
You gonna lie?
I'm not
It's
lying.
right there
How am
on
I
the
lying?
forum from Satoshi himself. He said the blocks can get as big as they want. We all got the evidence.
No, you're reading snippets of a conversation.
What did he say?
He wasn't
What did
for
he
the
say?
big blocks. He wasn't for the big blocks. You can read the snippet of the conversation. Where's the context?
Oh, here we go. Now we want context and shit. Now you want. I'm gonna read it
Yeah,
for you. I'm
context
gonna read it for you. You
matters.
ready? I'm gonna
Sure.
pull it up right here.
You gonna tell me Roger Ver is Craig Wright is Satoshi next?
Founder, senior member on the forum.
What's the date?
It would be nice to keep the black star.dat files small as long as we can. The eventual solution will be to not care how big it gets.
As technology
But for
progresses.
now, while it's still small, it's nice to keep it small so new users can get going fast. When I eventually implement client-only mode, that won't matter much at all. Let's go to the next one.
What's the context?
He says here, it says right here, RE in reference to patch increase block size, October 4th, 2010, 7:40, 8:40 p.m. Merited by OG Nasty. It can be phased in. Like if block number is greater than 115,000, max block size equals larger limit. It can start being in versions way ahead. So by the time it reaches that block number and goes into effect, the older versions that don't have it are already obsolete.
Yeah.
So he said he doesn't care
We're
how
already
big the blocks get.
we're
And the
already
people over
doing
at
that.
Blockstream have kept the blocks small for a reason.
Since when? Have you not been paying attention? We just had a BIP to increase the op return window.
By how much?
So what it's up to, what is it? 100,000?
100,000 what?
We're up to 100,000 bytes, I believe.
100,000 bytes?
You know
From
why?
what?
Or not
From
not
what?
bytes. I'm sorry. Let me go look.
From what?
What the newest BIP was. From 84 or
Oh
87?
wow. You went from 84,000 bytes.
Well, do you know
You know how
why he
big a
wanted to
byte
keep it
is?
small? Hold on. First of all, do
100,000
you
bytes.
what it
I could
allows
fit that on the
it
tip of my
allows
dick.
for
That's not a lot of memory.
for okay, so hold on just a moment here, because what you don't seem to understand is the context at the time was to keep it small and grow it over time as technology progressed, and that is what is
Let's go to
happening.
the spa. I'm gonna bring my experts in next week. They're gonna chew your ass up.
They're gonna
Because
chew
you
my
already
ass up
fucked
with
up
what?
early this week when
With
we was arguing about Iran. You said we was
about Iran.
Remember when you was on this show early this week and I told you about Iran? How things going in Iran right now, Landy?
Are you talking about Iran nuclear talks that are happening right now? That the latest comments are it's a good start
It's a good start.
in Oman.
What
Yeah.
did Iran ask for?
Oman. What do you mean? What did they
And you
ask for?
said the talks have started. What are the conditions of the talk?
I don't even know.
The conditions of the talk is United States said denuclearize.
Yeah, that's what the talks are
And what
about.
did Iran say?
That's not the
Iran
conditions.
said, kiss my Arab ass. That's what Iran said.
Well, that's funny because as of today,
That is as of
they're
today.
describing this as a good start.
That was as of today. Iran said no. As of today.
As of today, the latest news.
The latest news says China told people, get the fuck out of Iran. United States said, if you're at the embassy, get the fuck out of Iran. That's the latest news.
That was yesterday.
That was today. China was today.
I know, but we put out the bulletin from the
We put out the bulletin
State
yesterday.
Department
China today said, get the fuck out of Iran.
And?
You think they said, get
What
out of
about it?
Iran because it's about to be peaceful?
They also did this in December, and they did this in
Because
January.
what? Because we're going to send roses to Iran?
Well, did we send roses or strike them with nice little pointy explodey roses in December or
Keep
January?
that same energy.
No, it's not. What are you saying? What is your point?
Keep that same energy.
Your point is that we're going to strike them or have ground forces. That's what I was putting you down on.
Ground forces? We're the
You
United
think that
States
we're
of
going to
America. We don't
strike
use
them or have
ground
ground
forces anymore.
Exactly. That was my point.
What do you say? Ground forces? That we don't
Go to war with Iran.
We don't do ground forces. We strike people from a distance.
Yes. My point was is you said that we were going to go to war with Iran at one point, and I said I don't think it's going to be a war.
Let's go to the spy. Because then we're going to play a semantics game. And I don't like semantics games.
It's not a semantics
game. It is a
game.
semantics game.
No, it's not.
All right.
Because how many, hey, did you take the bet in January on the prediction markets for if we were going to strike them or go to war? Because if you want to talk semantics, go read the rules on those betting markets.
What are the rules?
They're different. Oh, the rules were the market's closed now for that one for January. But the rules were that a strike would not qualify as war.
So what qualifies as war?
Well, what qualifies as war? What qualified as war under Obama? We never went to war under Obama, did we? Even though it was called the global war on terror.
This be the problem with educated people, right? It's like
because
you
Congress
smack
didn't
a bitch on the
war.
ass that don't want to be smacked on the bitch on the ass, and then you be like, oh, it's not sexual assault. No, it's sexual assault.
I didn't say that.
No, that's the equivalent.
No, no,
It's
no.
like you strike a country and be like, "Oh, that's not war." That's technically
Well, I mean,
because
that's literally.
Poly Market didn't say it's not war, it's not
I'm
war.
not the one that plays semantics with that. I mean, you could go take that up with like Poly Market. You can go take that up with the Obama administration, the Trump administration. Like you
Why
go
would I
take that
take
up
it
with
up with
them. No,
them?
don't take it up with
Why
me.
would I take it up with liars?
Well, I mean, so are you predicting war? You think we're going to go to war with
I
them?
don't even know what your
And when?
definition of war is. You just said that.
I strike them. It doesn't matter to me.
Let's see what the Google
Do you
demons
think we'll
say.
strike them?
War is defined as a state of prolonged, organized, and intentional armed conflict between nations, states, or organized non-state actors.
Keyword is prolonged. There
It is.
it?
That's the key word. It
Yeah,
involves
prolonged,
significant violence, such as battle, to achieve political, economic, or territorial objectives. Modern definitions focus on armed conflict rather than formal declarations, including military occupation.
Yeah. So the key word there, like you said, is prolonged. And
So,
that's
no, that's not the key word. The key word here is
Yeah, it is.
modern definitions focus on armed conflict, which means that the term war
You
is
can't discount
elusive.
the
No,
first
it
half.
means that the term war is elusive. That means if you have common sense and you know what war looks like, somebody can come around and say, well, technically it's not war because here's
Yeah,
what
well,
war
that's
means. It's just like, so you drop a bomb on a nation, they try to, all right,
yes.
is Israel and Palestine at war?
Yes.
At least we agree on something. God damn.
Is Russia and Ukraine at
Yes.
war? Yes. Yes. Now, do you think that we will go to war with
Yes.
Iran? Okay. So you believe that there's going to be a prolonged fight with Iran?
Yes.
Okay. Mainly because of China's involvement and Russia's involvement with them?
No.
Well, I mean, that's their only backing.
Okay.
Do you think they're going to close down the strait and drive oil prices up to $150?
Quite possibly.
Because that's one of the main reasons that I think is holding things
What,
up
the
right now
Hormuz?
is that. Well, because that is the primary shipping lane for a lot of oil,
Right.
right? And specifically to China. So it's in China's best interest that there is no war with Iran because it'll drive up energy costs in China massively.
Let's go to the spy.
I'm here.
What do you think is this? Is this a manipulation candle or are we going lower or higher? What is that? That looks like a manipulation candle to me.
I mean, it is. Here's what you got to pay attention to with this is we swung this low right here at 675, right? That 675 low that we swung.
Where?
Right here.
Okay.
This low?
Yeah, I see it. Yup. And that one.
That was swung on the big gap
Yeah,
down.
there's a
right?
double tap. And there's another one
So
before
we
it.
swept it.
Go back. One more. Yeah, that one. No, not that one.
That right here.
No, not that one.
Well, there's this one over here.
The one. No, the green one. The white one. The white one.
You're talking about
No,
this guy?
go to your left. That one.
That's honestly structurally less significant than sweeping this low because we already found support over here.
Okay.
I mean, we found support right on it.
Okay. All right.
Right. So you could consider this like that this area was already hit right from this gap, right? But we filled and then moved through, and then we hit it directly right on the close, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, on the open. My bad, on the open. So we hit the open directly.
Yeah.
And then now we came down and swept it again. And this is post new all-time high as things are just chopping around and consolidating. So the conditions are pretty clear now because we did close this as a low. It's a lower low swing with technically an equal low close. These two closes are equal, right? 677.58 and then 677.62. So slightly higher close.
Yeah.
And then immediately moved up. So the conditions are, if we drop this low, we're headed to 670 and under, right? We're headed, probably 672 to 670,
Mhm.
and then starting to work its way into the 665, 660 areas down here in this zone.
Mhm.
And then right now, though, with closing right on a 20 simple, which is this basis band right
Mhm.
here, at 690, we have to entertain that if we see next week trading above 692, that it's probably going to go for 695. The highs up here, 695, 696.
Mm.
If it does that, it's very highly likely it's going to go for the actual all-time high at 690, basically 698 to 700 up here by the upper second.
Mhm.
Very highly likely. So now it's about kind of momentum. What is it going to take for momentum to shift? Well, close above 692.46 is going to shift momentum into next week. And we didn't close above that, but that's when this opens next week, the low side structure is going to be the pivot point. So this is really all that matters is this last low.
Mhm.
As long as that's maintained, up and to the right is more likely going to be the name of the game.
Mhm.
Bias breaker below 685. Right? If we pass this swing again, right here, this swing low,
Mhm.
right around 685, 686, and start getting below the moving averages, there's a 50 in here and a 55. If we start getting below that, it's going to retest that low
What's your
around
hunch
680.
say?
Those are your early warning signs. I mean, I have no soul, brother. Like, are you kidding me? I'm dead inside. So what I'm seeing here is this could continue to
What is the
push
what does the
from the
chart
4 hour.
say?
Chart says that this has juice back to the local highs here at like right around
Okay.
695 in the near term,
Uh-huh.
right? So
According to the
it's
daily.
got, according to lower term timeframes and the
Look at the
daily. So
weekly.
like the weekly
Does it
is
matter?
a I mean it does and it doesn't at the same
Okay.
time. Um because the candle was a bull candle that closed inside the prior all-time high
Yeah.
candle, and we have such long wicks to the top and bottom, the weekly is the easiest
But we
read,
got a lower low and
right?
a lower high.
We do on this one weekly candle, but you can't
That
take this
candle's
weekly
closed.
candle into perspective. Yeah, we have to take the next week's because it's all about where this high side structure for this candle, this doji right here,
Mhm.
is what matters
Okay.
most. Back below the 685 region, which is right around that low, then we start getting down to looking like this is going to be a very top, it's going to be a top side structure, but it only really breaks down below 675 now, right? So if it starts to move below this candle low, right, like 685, 686 between these two swings
Mhm.
right here, this is what matters. That's the actual price point that matters.
Mm.
If we close below there on the daily and start closing weeklies below there, this top will be solidified.
Mm.
This top is wide open still, especially with the close this week inside of the top side structure
Mhm.
here and having such long-legged dojis here. And then even if this confirms, it's all about breaking down on the weekly from 675. Then we can entertain a larger correction down, but it doesn't mean a whole lot just yet. This is where, it's kind of like right on the razor's edge. We're printing some bearish signals here. If it does lock in the high, that would be a bearish signal as well for another bear div. But as it stands right now, what we have is what I would term as bull bait and a bull bait setup. Why? Because you see the closing high is at 694.07. And then we swung it above but closed below. Swung it above and closed below. So this is a bull bait setup, but there's only one way to trap the bulls, and that's to start closing the high below 684 on the weekly. And we'll get all that information next week, right? Like when the Monday session through Friday starts to roll. And then if it is going to be a high, we're going to start seeing, 675 and under again. Next week's going to be the important week. This candle's a problem though. This is going to mess a lot of people up right here, because it can trade inside of the wicks of this candle from this weekly and really goof with people before it gets the real move.
That's what I was thinking. It looked like chop to me.
Because there's a lot of liquidity. Yeah, it's just garbage, man. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna grab liquidity like crazy.
Yep.
And that's why if you're gonna go, if this goes down and you get into any, and it's still inside of this structure between 675 to basically 695, that 20-point structure, that's where it's gonna pay if you're on the long side to hedge in VIX. Right. That's where that's going to be. That's straight up fire right there. If you're going to get into anything and it's still choppy, you might as well hedge. Right. For this though, this isn't telling us a whole lot. What I will say is that this looks like the beginnings of a rollover, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a rollover top. Like it puts in the top and then starts to roll over, you know, your rounded tops and just start to roll right over.
Okay.
And that's where, you know, you kind of got one back here. It started to chop around, then rolled over. I'm trying to find a nicer rollover here on the weekly for you. Here you go. Well, this was very structurally clear back here in 23. This was too clean. I'll be honest. You know what would be the most painful thing for a lot of market participants? Would be as if this thing just kept grinding up. That'd be the most painful thing.
Yeah, because you don't know what's happening.
Just keeps grinding and grinding and grinding higher, which is that's your melt up scenario, which it's been doing, right? This is just this, especially after the correction from 688, 687 here, it's just been melting up.
Yeah, it's shitty. Look at that.
It's not good, but look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ's looking like a rollover. Doesn't mean it will be. This right now it's just a consolidation.
It does look like a rollover.
This looks like it could roll over and correct in a big way. Right. And this one looks like, you know, if it loses, it could correct even down to this low and still be safe. But if it starts getting below like 24 to 24.2 and loses this upper 23 area, this is going to skate down hard if that were to happen. Because
but what about the
like
Dow?
You start to roll over here.
The Dow was like all-time highs today.
Here's why everybody's really messed up in markets right now, because look at Dow making new all-time highs. Because the Dow is Main Street, brother.
Oh, that's Main Street. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You know, when
that ain't tech.
Trump comes
that
out,
ain't tech.
When Trump came out and his administration came out in Davos and they talked about Main Street being back, they weren't lying. Like it's there. People don't associate it. They just they're like concentrating on tech and concentrating on equities.
You're right.
A lot of Main Street is back, like, because they've been flooding money into Main Street, and there's a lot of the infrastructure build out that he's wanted to do. That's why they're really going to focus on jobs. You're going to hear a lot more about jobs, because they're trying to bring back the middle class. They have to do that through manufacturing. And a lot of that investment for manufacturing will work its way over into tech over time. It just takes longer for tech, like data centers and all that kind of stuff. That's also one of the big reasons why Main Street is back, is because, you know, when you're bringing back Main Street, that's what does Main Street need? What does production in the United States mean? That means we need rare earth materials, rare earth elements, REEs, right? That's why you see the global stage kind of setting up for all the REEs, all the commodities that we're running. So like we're getting a lot of that actually coming through, but it's in Dow, which shows you that there's incredible strength. This is kind of what gives me pause about an actual rollover in markets right now, because you see what happened, you know, when Trump came into office, you know, in January. You know, we had the big run up into the elections, right? Post-election, big move up, right? We had October correction down into the November, and then after November made a nice new high, right? hold on, let me move that over a bit. And then we corrected coming into January, and then we moved back up at the end of January, and then tariff narrative took over. Markets completely nuked and delevered the entire way down, right? But you had this move up, the big correction down, and then the lower or equal high, lower high closes, and then the big move down. This is like a nice big move up. And what's different now is this recovered and it's just been grinding sideways and up. Whereas you've got NASDAQ looking like a rollover and SPY looking like a rollover. So I think the lead indicator is going to be to watch Dow in conjunction to NASDAQ and SPY right now. Main reason why is because if Dow starts to put in a top and correct really hard, that might begin the rollover. We might be seeing the rollover begin in NASDAQ and then in SPY. That's where we could see that. Or if Dow keeps plugging along, these things can just keep going sideways and then start going up again. Because AI and, everybody was talking about AI bubbles burst and all this stuff. And honestly, I don't know, man. A lot of that is narrative, not reality.
Right. I agree with that.
And I just don't. I mean, we had the large correction in silver.
Yeah.
We had the large correction in gold. We had the massive correction in the energy sector for natural gas, which is the primary reason that you have high electricity costs when gas is rising. We had oil come up to a key level, right? It came up and tagged the highs, swept 65 up to that 66.50 level, and then it's pulled back, right? What would upset this, though? This whole thing, what would put a big old monkey wrench into it? What we were just talking about earlier. War. Yeah. That would cause that's going to cause VIX to accelerate. And that means that we're going to get massive corrections if that occurs, right? When VIX goes up, markets are going down. That's your hedge. But I think it would be very quick.
Right.
I think it would be very quick.
It would be abrupt,
because markets love wind.
Right. It would be abrupt correction followed by a rally.
Yeah. And I think it would be a deeper correction too. Because we're so compressed, like on SPY. If you look on this weekly, if we got a correction any lower than 650, we're in expansion then. We either reverse off of 650 or the mid 650 area if that were to occur, or it's going to correct hard. Because that's weekly expansion to the downside if it gets anywhere below there and starts closing. So it'd have to reverse off of that, or it closes below and we begin an expansion down, which would be a longer form bear. I mean, when I say longer form, like technically this was a bear market, right? From a technical perspective, but realistically on the monthly, it's just a higher low.
Right.
It's like a massively higher low. Right. This would likely just turn out to be just another monthly higher low. But from the perspective of depth of correction, it'd be considered a bear market. And boy, oh boy, was that opportunity, wasn't it? Now, what are your thoughts on where you were looking and what you're looking at? Because I'm curious what it is that you've been eyeing in the past week since we were talking.
I'm just saying, I'm just looking at the weekly candle, bro.
But like, is there anything specific that you were looking for? Like,
I just like we saw the big candle today, right? So everybody was like, "Oh, higher highs," and I'm like, "Wait, calm down. Like, you get one candle and you think it's we're off to the races, and that's usually not how things work. Like, usually when you have an equity that's moving to the top side, it's usually not quick. It's usually like a nice stepped ladder. Some bounce down, then we go up. But when I did the tracement on that daily candle. I hadn't seen a daily candle like that until like April 2023, I think. Like we've never seen a candle like that big in a while. I went back and looked. It's not
Yeah,
there. So that to
yeah,
me
this was the large.
is an anomaly, aka a manipulation candle. Because when you look at the Mag 7 is all down except for Google. So what the fuck is lifting that other than people pumping money into the SPY?
What I would say is this candle off of the April, this was,
April 25, is that?
yeah, April
That's
of
the last one I
2025 when we hit
saw.
that
Yeah,
low.
but that was
Yeah, 11
following, the Trump tariff
tariffs.
reliefs. So I don't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
count that, like, that's just more like, you know what I'm saying? This comes off of
yeah.
absolutely no news, and it's just this big fucking dildo, of a candle, and there's no, like, logical reason behind it.
Well, I mean, the logic is that it came down and swept the lows. I mean, that is the logic behind that type of a move back into the
Okay.
range, right? Because realistically, what have we been seeing across the board in every market? Like when you go and you look at currencies and bonds, I'm gonna bring up here, um, you know, um, when you look at the 10-year, right? For Japan, when you look at what's going on in the currency markets, right? Or the Dixie, right? What have we seen? Well, we've seen that we'll take the 2 and 10s here, right? Every move up on so for those that might not know about the bond market, when you see interest the rate rising, what you're seeing is selling going on. The higher rate is to attract new buyers, right? When you see it coming down, you've got buyers in the market, right? Well, what have we seen in every sell-off? We've seen in the bond markets, we've seen players pulling out of, like in this case, Dixie. Cash is being converted out, right? Foreign investment is leaving when you see something like that. It's not always the case, but typically that's what you're seeing is a de-dollarization move. Um, but it's not just happening in the US. All major nations are turtling up with their currencies. So where is all the money going? Well, it's all going into cash. It was going into cash, and then cash was going into what? It was going into gold, silver. We had palladium, copper, platinum, right? Big corrections though. So all that cash moved into commodities, and then it moved out of commodities. And where did we see it flow today? Where we saw it flow was Dow. We saw it flow to NASDAQ off the low, and we saw it flow to SPY. And there's a lot that's parked now. And when you got that much cash floating around, it can keep markets like indices and equities pretty high for a while, like kind of stupidly high and grinding. And I think that's what we're seeing right now in the market. So I honestly wouldn't rule out because it's in the range for SPY. If Dow continues up next week, we could absolutely see SPY continue up.
Mm,
But if we see Dow correcting, this likely comes back down.
mm. Okay. Alright. I got no, dog in the fight, so I don't care either
I don't
way,
either.
right?
I
Um,
mean, I bid and then I was hedging. I was bidding and then um, hedged on VIX just to make sure, right? Like, because you never know,
yeah.
and especially with the bigger moves that are going on in commodities and everything that was taken down, indices and equities. So I I think it was a little bit of a panic.
Mhm.
Um, But one thing I can tell you is Bitcoin confirmed its bear market. How long it'll last, who knows? I don't think it's gonna last as long as people think. I think we maybe chop around for 6
Mhm.
months, try to form a low coming into, um even if it forms like local lows, I think like for a macro low, probably looking at later this year, summer into fall timeframe. But if it drops significantly lower, if it like drops like if it starts to drop into or below like 38,000, then it's going to be a prolonged bear. But like this is where I think it's going to pay to just check on things like the Chinese markets and the Japanese markets as well.
Why?
Because what you're seeing is their bond markets are getting crazy too, just like ours, right? And what you see like with the Hang Seng is it's just a big old move up, new highs, came down to tag the lows, nice buyback off of it. The Nikkei is doing the same thing, right? You know, and you could check European markets as well. Everything's going to look very similar. The Dow is very similar, right? To some of them, you can draw some comparisons to them. But if we see that nuke, it's likely we're going to see global markets nuke all at the same time. It's all a risk off move globally. That's what we saw on Thursday, right? It was a risk off. It was a global risk off move. We saw it in crypto. We saw it in the Hang Seng, nice buyback though. In the Nikkei, nice buyback. But we saw it in Dow just very temporarily. We saw it in NASDAQ, big move down, structure break, by the way. And then SPY, we saw a little less of a move down. It was mostly in risk assets. And then we saw some of it flow back in today to equities, indices, and even Bitcoin had a nice bounce. But also you see gold and silver setting up for a consolidation. If you put that picture together, what I'll tell you is just pay attention to the bond markets.
Okay.
If you see them selling off aggressively, know that cash is likely going to be the name of the game till the move is over, and we're likely already seeing that move at the same time in markets.
Okay. But you said when you say it's moving to cash, what does that mean? The cash is going to sit there and not be deployed?
Yeah, wait to be deployed, right? And if we see a dash for cash, you know, expect volatility to the downside in many cases.
On the
right?
bonds.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you're going to see is you'll see a larger move up in the yields.
Oh,
right?
if people flee, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see the larger move up in yields. And if we see that start to hit,
That means people
then we're
people are
looking.
getting cash to possibly make a move in the markets.
Yeah, I would see, you know,
What's the
you'll
ticker on
likely see
that bond?
commodities get paid up.
What's the
For
ticker
what?
on the bond market?
Well, you can watch the tens across different markets. A lot will.
Watch the 10? Okay.
Yeah, the US
Okay.
10. And that's what many are going to watch this as a general. And you can watch it cross markets. So, you know, if you're going to watch the British 10-year, you know, you've got the
Yeah, it looks like
Japanese 10 years and stuff like that.
yeah, it's like the rate's going up.
So, I mean, like this from the other day, we saw an actual move down, right? The move down was a risk off move. That's what you're looking for. If we see a cash dash, though, they're looking to buy, right? Because what we saw was a larger move down, even out of silver into gold, right? Because gold held structure. But we saw a lot of Thursday, we saw a lot of buying in, you know, which is a risk off move for the tens, right? And then we get some outflow back into cash and some readjustment, right? So it's all in conjunction with whatever it is you're going to be trading, though. It's going to obviously tech is going to be highly volatile and highly sensitive to the narratives kind of coming out of earnings and we saw a lot of stuff get beat
Yeah.
up. That doesn't mean that it's over, even with the buybacks.
Right,
though.
right. All right. I got a bunch of phone calls I gotta make. I got family hit me. I think it's like some sort of family emergency or something like that.
All right, brother. Well, I hope everything's
Yeah,
okay.
thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, another nightly recap with the impeccable Crypto Landy.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
I'll see y'all next week, man. Keep your eyes glued to the charts. Monday's gonna be crazy. All right, Landy. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, brother. Take care.